Hi, how are we doing? I'm not doing great. I'm sweating my tits off. It's really hot. I don't know, the past couple of days it's been cooling down and now all of a sudden today it just like shot up again. And I don't know what we're doing anymore with the temperature in this country. But oh well. We are today talking about everything that I watched in the month of July, which, spoiler alert, is a lot. Like, I genuinely was shocked when I was putting everything together for this video. I needed to stop myself. I don't know how I did it because I also feel like I read a lot in July. So I don't know where I got the time. I feel like I also was very social in July. I did a lot of things. Who knows? July was a magic month. But I will say there were a lot of rewatches this month. So if that's not your favorite, I'm sorry. But it was just kind of like the mood I was in. Plus also just like generally on TV there's like summer reruns right now. So obviously I am also watching that kind of. And yeah, I don't know. Was the mood I was in. So let's just get started. Like always, we're going to be talking about the seasons I watched this month, what I'm currently watching, and then the movies that I watched. And all three are actually pretty significant lists. Like, you should be proud of me. So let's get into things. Starting off with Modern Family season 6. I gave this 4 to 5 stars, and this was a rewatch. I generally am sad just kind of like the speed that I'm flying through it, but season 6, great season. It's not one of my favorites, hence why it's a 4-star, but it does contain a lot of the Haley and Andy build up, so I can be mad at that, obviously, but I do feel like there were some parts of it that were just like a little underwhelming, but overall still a great season. Then we have Modern Family season 7, which I gave 5 to 5 stars to, and this is another rewatch. Like I said, flew through this, I'm flying through the show. Season 7, incredible. I don't know what it was about this season, but I feel like I teared up almost every episode. Like, for some reason this season was so emotional to me. Then we have The Godmother season 23, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars to, and it's another rewatch. This is one of those summer reruns that I was talking about, and I love The Godmother, but I hate that they keep rerunning like these last couple seasons because I want to watch some of the older ones because I only got into The Godmother a couple of years ago. Season 23, and still end up rewatching it, but I do think it is kind of a bit mid. Like, it's not bad, but it also, it's not the best that the show can be. And then we have Modern Family season 8, which I give 2 to 5 stars to, and it's of course another rewatch. And this season again felt a little bit underwhelming to me. I do feel like at this point we're also like 8 seasons in, so it also kind of like makes sense that it's not at its like biggest peak. That plus it also just like generally has some storylines I'm not the biggest fan of. Then we have FC de Kampioenen seizoen 14, which I gave 4 to 5 stars to, and is a rewatch. And I know this isn't a popular opinion, but to me these are the golden years, and this was a really fun season. It's not a stellar season, but it's a lot of fun, a lot of fun episodes. I just had a blast watching it. Then we have The Godmother season 24, which I gave 2 to 5 stars to, and it was a rewatch. I have to say, just like these final 2 seasons, the like student group I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't think they mesh that well together, and they're not that funny, so that also impacts my enjoyment of this series, and that's my problem with this season. I didn't really think it was that funny. So then we have Modern Family season 9, which I give 2 to 5 stars to, and is another rewatch. This has very similar issues to season 8 for me, just a bunch of storylines I don't really love all together. And also with season 9, I feel like we are getting to the point where you feel like the show not necessarily has run its course, because I ironically think it's get better after this, but you do feel like it's getting to a point where they're running out of ideas a little bit. They're recycling storylines, not necessarily doing it in the best way. Then we have Eenmaal Andermaal season 1, which is a rewatch. This actually the latest season finished airing, and then this season started reruns, and I thought it was really fun because it kind of just really showed how much this show has changed over the years, and I didn't really notice that as it was airing over the different years. So having like the most recent season and like the first season like back to back like that, it just was a really fun experience. And we have The Verhulstjes season 1, which is a rewatch. Like, I am very glad that I did not keep track of like most of my like Flemish watches until this year, because the amount of times I have rewatched The Verhulstjes is insane, and I'm doing it again. But this is just like the definition of a comfort show to me. Like, I don't know what it is, it's just very confident. I feel like especially this first season, this was still like in the middle of the pandemic, so it's like very simple in a way, and just casual and like day-to-day stuff, because there just wasn't a lot going on at the time, and I just really like that. Then we have Mayfair Witches season 1, which I give 1 of 5 stars to. I love Interview with the Vampire, as you might know, I've talked about that before. And when I first watched that, I tried watching Mayfair Witches because this is like one big universe, and I just didn't really get into it. But now the third season of Interview with the Vampires finally come out where I live, and I really want to watch that, but also know that kind of, but for that to make like full sense, I feel like you have to watch Talamasca, and for Talamasca to make sense, you have to watch My Favorite Witches. So I did it again, and I just kind of had like a couple of days where I was focusing on kind of like coloring, which I haven't done in a while, so that was really fun. And I just put this on in the background and just let it be. Let's have a go through it. This is not a good show. I really wish it was, especially because Interview with the Vampire was so good. The fact that it is so bad, it's just outstanding almost. But I feel like this show, at least this first season, was just so confusing, but at the same time like nothing happens. So I don't know where the disconnect happened there. I feel like the main character is just insufferable. I don't like her. And for a show called My Favorite Witches, there's barely any witchcraft in the show, like barely any magic, so that also is like kind of boring. And of course I also watched My Favorite Witches season 2, which I give 2 to 5 stars to. So I do have to say that it did get better for me. I feel like in this season it just was less boring. I feel like there was more going on. I also got some new characters that I did really like. The main character is still fucking stupid, and I think the antagonist of the show is just really lame, and I just don't like that character a lot. And my main issue with this season is, even though there was a lot of things I was very interested in, I feel like the last couple of episodes just completely started being about something else, and then it also just kind of changed the way you looked at the first half of the season, because it did still kind of influence things, of course, but it just is like, why all of a sudden this vibe switch? Why not continue with the interesting things we had going on? Why throw all that in the trash and do something else instead? I don't know. Then I have Modern Family season 10, which I gave 4 to 5 stars to, and it was another rewatch, obviously. This is what I mean with after season 9, it feels hard to say that they ran out of ideas, because I like season 10 more than I like season 9. And that's also weird, because this also has one of my least favorite storylines in it. But again, I do feel like it has enough going on outside of that that I do really like, that it kind of like doesn't really matter that much all in all. But I feel like at this point, I don't know if it's because they knew this was a penultimate season, or just because that's the nature of a 10th season, that's an anniversary season, regardless of if you're continuing on for I don't know how long or such. But this season just feels so full circle in times, and therefore I really love it. It's another season that I had me tearing up for quite a lot of episodes, and I just really like how we're really putting in the effort to show how much these characters have grown, and to kind of like evolve them to the next phase of their lives. And then we have the Godmadam season 25, which I give 2 to 5 stars to, and it's another rewatch. This is the final season of the Godmadam, and that's the main reason why I hate this season so much, because I feel like otherwise it's completely fine. I actually think it does some fun things. It kind of changes from the episodic format to kind of being like a little bit of a continuous storyline, and I like that. I think it's also a really short season, it's like 6 episodes, and I feel like that could have been great for a finale, but they focused on the main character's mom the entire season. A mom who has been like a mentioned character for most of the show, and only got introduced as like a physical presence in the last episode of the previous season. So that just feels like a slap in the face, when these 6 episodes should be about these iconic characters and their goodbye. Instead, that kind of felt forgotten and wished in the final episode, and I don't know. And that's everything that I watched in July from like seasons. So let's get into the currently watching. Starting off with Episode of Campiona season 15. This was a lot of rewatch. I just learned that 2 of my favorite episodes of the show are in the same season, and that's this season. So this is a goated season. Like, honestly, it's incredible. Then we have Modern Family season 11, which is a rewatch. To be fair, I've seen like half an episode in July, so I don't know if it should count, but it counts to me. This is the final season. I'm not ready for it to end. This happens always when I'm rewatching Modern Family. I fly through it, and as soon as I'm done with it, I want to start again. And it's gonna be really hard to restrain myself from it this time. I can already tell, but I'm gonna have to be strong. So keep an eye on me in August. Then we have the Godmadam season 18. This I actually don't know if it was a rewatch. This is difficult about not keeping track of Flemish television for quite a long time, that I actually am not entirely sure if I've seen it so far. The first episode of it has already aired, and I don't think I have seen that one, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. Then we have Irma Andermal season 3, which is another rewatch. Again, only 1 episode of this is made to air, and it was a great episode, so I'm very excited to continue on with it. I feel like the show is just a lot of fun, and like also a bit on the cozy side, so there's that. Then we have Iedereen Zomert season 2. This is just like a summer program, and I think it's fun. Then we have the Golden Koppes season 4, which is another rewatch. This is a fun season. I feel like they had a lot of fun themes this season. It's fun to be able to rewatch that. Then we have the Emmys season in. This is a new show. It is a archive show yet again, but this is themed after like an award show where there's just like a bunch of ridiculous categories and you have like 5 clips that fit that and there's like a winner and everything, and it's really fun. Then we have the Revolution season 3, which is another rewatch. This one is on Saint-Tropez the full season, which I really love. It feels like really luxurious and like very different from season 1, but it's fun. Then we have Die om te zien, which is season 26. I have thoughts on the season. I am pissed off with the way it is set up this season because we're on a new location. I don't love it. I went there on my vacation. I went to watch a aquarium episode. I thought it was just, the stage was tiny and the crowd is so big and you can barely see anything and you can tell on TV, which is the most blasphemous I feel like. Then as lastly from my currently watched, we have Telemasca, The Secret Order season 1. Again, I've seen like half an episode of this, so it doesn't really count. I'm counting it, but I'm very curious to continue onwards because I did think that Telemasca was an interesting aspect of the Mayfair Witches show, so I'm curious to delve a bit more into that. Yeah, let's get into the movies that I watched this month. Starting off with the guy we didn't like musicals with Priest, which went in 2026, and I give 5 stars too. This was released to the public this month and I loved it. Guy we didn't like musicals is my favorite Star Trek musical, and this was Priest version I really loved. I feel like since they originally put it on, we have expanded the lore of Hatchetfield so much, and I already felt just like a different impact rewatching the Guy We Didn't Like musicals, but now also just having the actors play things with all that knowledge now just makes everything hit so much different, and also just feel like the production went up a level and that really paid off. It really looks great. And we have Enola Holmes, which came in 2020. I give 5 stars to this was a rewatch. The third one in this franchise came out this month, so I rewatched the other ones. Enola Holmes is like the type of movie where I don't know if it necessarily recommend it to everyone because I don't think it is like a masterpiece, but it is like right on my alley and I adore it so much. Like I always have such a fun time watching these movies. This rewatch was no exception. I had a blast. And that's kind of all I have to say for it. Then we have Heartstopper Forever, which came out as a 26. I give 5 stars too. I love Heartstopper. This movie was an incredible way to end things, and honestly I'm kind of glad to end things on a movie and not like another season, because I already cried my entire way through this. I don't know how I would have survived like a season of a show, but this was incredible. They did a great job adopting the last volume, and the last volume also is great. Also came out this month, so if you want to know my thoughts on that, check out my reading wrap up. And it generally just felt like a long episode, which I also really like. Then next we have Heartstopper Ending on a High, which went in 26. Is like, I believe it's like just over half an hour as like a little behind the scenes documentary a little bit, partially kind of showing behind the scenes of just like generally how the show came to be, and then also a couple of behind the scene things from the movie, but mostly it kind of focuses on the impact this story has on fans and also on the cast of the show, the crew of the show, and I really like that. And again, I was very emotional watching this entire thing because obviously it's also been a story that's impacted me a lot over the years. Then we have Enola Holmes 2, which came out in 2022, and I give 5 stars too, and it's another rewatch. This is fun. I didn't remember this one as much, so in my head I always put it under the first one because I remember the first one very vividly, and then the second one I didn't really, but I actually liked this more than the first one. And when I went to log this on Letterboxd, I realized I also said that in my initial review for this movie, so hey, I don't know where the miscommunication happened in my head, but I just think this one feels a bit more high stakes. There's a lot more going on, which I really enjoyed, and therefore just like there's more tension, it's more fun. Plus, I also think it highlights an important part of history that doesn't really get highlighted a lot. And of course, I also watched Enola Holmes 3, which runs in 26, and I gave 3 out of 5 stars too. I wasn't the biggest fan of this, oddly enough. I just thought the mystery, I wasn't the biggest fan of. That's the main thing. I wasn't really that invested in it, and I feel like everything just happened very easily, therefore I'm not really feeling the stakes to it a lot. And then I feel like when it came to the spot these characters were at, it just felt like I kind of skipped the movie, like I missed something, but that kind of felt sad. But I did still have fun watching it. It's a 3 stars, it's not a bad movie, but it just kind of felt underwhelming after 1 and 2 and how much I love those. Then we have Nice Out, which came out in 2019, and I give 5 stars too, and this is a rewatch. This movie is just so brilliant. Like I love it so much, and I feel like it's such a popular movie, so like you probably know about that, but I feel like it's such a perfectly executed murder mystery, and that's just something I've realized over the years. I love a murder mystery, a straight up mystery, like no thriller in it, just like mystery, and we've done it. And it's very hard to find such a flawlessly executed one, and Lights Out just is it, and it feels so satisfying when you have such a well executed whodunit, you know. Then next I watched Glass Onion, which came out in 2022, and I gave 5 stars too, and this was another rewatch. I was actually pleasantly surprised by this one because when I first watched it, I gave it 3 stars, which is lower than I remember giving it. I will say that. I remember not being the biggest fan of it, and I still prefer Knives Out, but I think like the main reason why it didn't click with me upon first rewatch is kind of I was expecting the same but different, you know, and Glass Onion is extremely different. Just like tonally, it's just like a very different vibe. I don't think I was ready for that, and I think that's what kind of, I don't know, didn't work for me as well. But now expecting that, I did really like it. I thought it was a great movie. And just again, such a tightly wound movie, and I just really like seeing all of that progress, if that makes sense. And then lastly for today we have Wake Up Dead Man, which came out in 2025, and I gave 4 stars to. So I've been wanting to watch it ever since it came out, but I've been so bad at watching movies, you know that. So now that I was finally like in a movie watching vibe, that's the reason why I binged this entire series. I really liked it, but as you can tell, it is a star lower because my main issue with this movie is kind of like with the characters a little bit. That I love Benoit Blanc. I think that's an incredible character, and I feel like when it comes to these movies, he should be like, you know, all caps the star, you know, of these movies. And I feel like that wasn't really his role in this movie. It's more a little bit of a side character, if that makes sense. With Father Judd kind of being more so the star, and that's like still a character I like, so it's not like I complain, but I feel like, you know, it should be Benoit Blanc, and I feel like I wanted just a bit more of that. And then also I feel like when it came to the extended cast, we spent so little time with them that I kind of just, out of how many lines each character had, just made it very obvious who did it, which I always think is just a little bit of a shame. If you can just tell who the culprit is based on who gets the most screen time, that's like the lamest way to figure out who the killer is, you know. Overall, I don't think, again, it was like a beautifully shot movie. Tonally it is a bit darker than Knives Out and Glass Onion, and I really like that. I also just like how it kind of dealt with the themes of religion, and also used that imagery to tell the story. I thought that was really well done. And yeah, that is everything that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of any of these things if you watched them. So tell some of the things that you watch in the month of July, and then hopefully I'll see you again in August. Goodbye.